You wanna do it?
No, you can do
it. Welcome back to All Seasons channel. Today, we're gonna be changing the cooling unit in a Norcold refrigerator. This is a 1200 series refrigerator. It is the big old honking 4-door one. Why are we changing the cooling unit in this, you might ask? Well, let me show you. This refrigerator had the recall done on it. So at one time, just imagine that he took all the metal and everything off here. You'll see what the new one looks like here in a few minutes. But this had, like I said, this had the recall done on it. So it had the thermal safety switches on it. Customer had trouble with some of that thermal safety device, and he bypassed it. Then he got a leak in his cooling unit while this refrigerator was running on propane, and here's the results. He had a fire. If he had not been setting right beside the motorhome, right outside where the refrigerator is at, he would have lost the motorhome. So folks, the safety devices are on there for a reason. Like I say, I mean, this could have happened at night while him and his family was in their sleep, and it could have been a catastrophe. The safety devices are on these refrigerators for a reason. So me and Cameron's gonna get started changing this cooling unit, and we're going to take y'all along. This ought to be exciting. And I've had some people say, man, quit with the close-ups. My arm's only so long. That's as long as my arm is. Okay, so I can't help it. So there you go. Oh, hey, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Ring that notification bell, all that stuff. Leave us a comment and all that good stuff. So here we go. Typically, you got to take a bunch of stuff apart down here, but he has already taken most of it apart, trying to make sure he had the fire extinguished, I'm sure. That's what that was all about. So I see just a few screws down there that we're going to need to take out. We'll need to take the fans off, and then just a few screws up top probably, and then we'll go inside. But we're going to go ahead and start back here. All we're going to do is get cooling units loose here. There's a screw somewhere there that holds it down. We just need to get some of this stuff out of the way, mostly for right now. The drip tray, get it out of the way. And I have to go in here and get the thermocoupler and the burner tube and stuff out, because we have to reuse that. Get these fans off here, because they'll have to be reused. Now there's our fans. Sorry, I was out of frame when I took those screws out, but it's just taking a few screws out. Let's just get those unplugged. Just one more here. There it is. Oh. Actually, there was two more. So there that is. The fans out of the way. One of those got scorched a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. We'll test it there in a little bit. All right, we're gonna have to reuse the burner tube and the thermocoupler, like I said, so we're just gonna go in here with a Phillips screwdriver, see if we can get these screws loose. Oh, that sucker was tight. was kind of afraid they would have been. This is kind of rusty down in here. When it caught on fire, he must have sprayed some water on it. I think there's dry fire retardant material in here also, but he might have sprayed water on it before he found the fire extinguisher. Like I say, this had the potential to go bad. I've seen a lot of RV fires in my years, and I would say easily, well, I say a lot, maybe 10 fires. I'd say easily 90% of those fires are right here at the refrigerator. That's where they originate. All right, tell you what, we might just take this aluminum gas line off that burner tube and get that off after we get the cooling unit off, because that's kind of down in there. So we're just going to take this gas line loose here. You know what? Let me see if I can get that screw. I got one already. Let me see if I can get this other one. Ah, nope, screwdriver's slipping. You don't get too many opportunities to let that screwdriver slip. And get this gas line loose over here. Hopefully it ain't too tight. Oh. But it is stuck to the gas line. A little aluminum line. Get some penetrating oil and put in there. When I took this nut loose on this aluminum gas line, the nut is stuck to the gas line. So if you just kept twisting it, of course, it's just going to break that little gas line off. And I don't have one of them, so I really don't want to break it. So we'll give that a few minutes to penetrate and do its thing. We're going to be replacing from here to here. That's attached to that new cooling unit. So we're going to get this old duct tape off. All this is going to be new when we get done. All right, now there's a screw or two, maybe 3 or 4, holding this part of the cooling unit to the back of the refrigerator. No way I can show you those screws. They're back in there pretty far. All right, so I know we got a screw right here. Should be one more here somewhere. Yep, right there. All right, that should be everything down here except this gas line. Let me see if it'll move yet. Nope, still twisting. Do that just to work that penetrating oil in. So I've heard anyway. I'd really like to get that off because that's actually the last thing. Tell you what, might have to just pull the gas valve off and leave that gas line on there because I ain't breaking that gas line. I'm just going to pull this bracket off that holds that gas valve. Okay, so the gas valve is loose. I'll take the 2 wires off the gas valve. So that way, when we pull the cooling unit off, hopefully it'll all come with it. We'll have to be very careful there and make sure we don't damage that gas line. All right, so we got all that stuff down low, loose, and now we're going to go up here to top. There's probably going to be a couple of screws at least on that. This is the switch for the fans, We're going to get it unhooked. So we'll need to transfer that over to the new cooling unit. We'll get those wires out of the way for right now. We're actually going to have to end up taking a bunch of wiring off that board, just because the wiring goes up the back of the cooling unit right there, where we have to get that whole cooling unit out. So we're actually going to have to go down here and get some wiring off that board. Alright, we're going to get the cover off this board first. All this stuff is all for the, it's mostly for the ice maker. So it's actually going to just unplug here, believe. It's the power and the neutral for the cooling unit, or for the ice maker. Here's the ground. Ice maker's probably never been used. Very few people ever use ice makers in their RV refrigerators. So we're probably just wasting our time here unhooking this and rehooking it back up, because like I say, chances are real good that it's never been used. I'm just going to label these wires. It takes less time to figure stuff out going back. Better label stuff before than it is after, because after is too late. Just 2 wires for the ice maker and 1 for the gas valve. Let's see if these pull up out of the way now. Yes, they do. These ones here are fine. This ice maker line is going to have to come off somewhere. Probably be easier to get it off right here. Okay, so this should come up through there now. It will. It will there in a few minutes. As soon as we get the cooling unit coming out, it'll free that up. That really should be everything at the bottom. So got a couple screws, maybe up here, 2 or 3. All right, so that should be everything back here. Yep, everything's loose. Get the rest of this duct tape cut off of here. All right, now we're gonna go inside. All right. So these screws here, and 4 on this side of the freezer and 4 over here, hold that cooling unit in. There should have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws in these fins that also go to the cooling unit, but they've already been removed. I don't know if the customer thought he was going to change the cooling unit or what, but yeah, so we don't have to get those out. We just have to get these ones out. All right, that's those 4. You notice we got 2 different length screws. Start with the long ones when you start putting the cooling unit back, because you kind of gotta, takes 2 people, 1 person back there pushing in, and the person in here putting screws in. So you start with the long ones first, and then you can get the short ones in after you get it pulled in. So that's those 4. We're just gonna go over here and get these 4. Same deal over here, 3 short ones and 1 long one. And most likely we've got new ones with the new cooling unit. Well, that's the easy part. Now, sometimes actually physically getting the old cooling unit out can sometimes be a struggle. I mean, sometimes they come right out. Sometimes I've fought them for 2 hours. Had to chain the refrigerator to a fence post, and used 2 before to pry the cooling unit out and all kinds of stuff. So let's see what we'll see how this one goes. All right, so we've got the tape cut. So now we are just going to start pulling on this cooling unit a little bit. Oh, look here. Life is good sometimes. I must say, I've never had one come out that easy. So that's really it. We just need to watch our gas line down there. Let me go down there and watch that gas line. And there, folks, is your cooling unit. Now this is completely different from my household. This is not changeable in a household, but it is in an RV refrigerator. So there you go. We're gonna lay this thing down here and get our gas line off and our burner tube. Now that we can get to it, let me show you how easy that's gonna be. Let's see. Now we can get to it. Should be able to get that thing off her now. Yeah, that was that cooling unit just come out scary easy. That makes you wonder what's not going to go right when something goes that right. Oh, maybe getting that screw out of that. Oh, how that burner tube. Suck is tight. Impact driver. See what that does. That's the ticket. I'm gonna look. If I have one of these burner tubes, I think I'm gonna change this one, because I was about to twist it off. I was trying to get that gas line off. I don't think this stuff enjoyed being on fire. Not even a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It don't look bad. Dumping the rust out of it. See that rust? That was all inside that burner tube. Oh, there's something I hadn't actually counted on. That's the drain tube for the coils inside the refrigerator. Got kind of melted. I'm gonna have to go get a piece of that. I'm pretty sure I don't have anything that size on my truck. There's the fins out of the refrigerator. I just wanted to show you. They just, once you get the cooling unit out, they kind of fall out. So we're gonna clean this up. Cameron's gonna go get me a good putty knife. We're just gonna kind of scrape all this old mastic off back here and get ready to put the new one in. I might be able to get that tube later. We'll see. Because I really like to get this cooling unit done tonight. Yeah, we're just gonna get all this old mastic scraped off here. We got new mastic to go back with. You don't have to get carried away here, just get most of the old junk off. It's pretty flaky, so it actually comes off pretty well. Not gonna worry about the rust and stuff. This is styrofoam here, so scrape pretty gently on that. Like I say, this stuff is flaky, it comes off pretty easily. So we don't want to damage the styrofoam. Just want to get the old mastic off. Now, as you can see, it comes off pretty easily.
Do any of you guys know what mastic is?
Well, do you? You're not going to answer the boy? Mastic, I don't know. It probably stands for something, but it's just a material to help temperature move from. That's how I would define it. It helps move temperature from one place to another. So it helps move the cool from the cooling unit to the back side of this freezer. This is the back side of the freezer. It's just a big aluminum plate. So it just transfers that cool from the cooling unit inside the freezer. And then down here you have the fins that transfer. The cooling unit works, as far as I know, the coolest part is the part up here. So the freezer gets to most of the cool, and then the refrigerator gets the rest, what's left over. That's why the freezer can be 0 and the refrigerator be 40, because it's just getting the leftover cooling in the cooling unit. Does that make sense? I don't know. It does to me, but as far as I know, that's what mastic does. And actually, most of the cooling units tell you don't put any mastic around this styrofoam, but this one from the factory, if this was a factory cooling unit, it had tons of mastic around it between the foam on the cooling unit and the foam on the refrigerator. And yes, the instructions have always said don't put it around the foam, but I always have, because they give you 2 tubes of it. You only need 1 tube for the cooling unit, so what are you supposed to do with the other 2? I put it around the foam. All right, so we got that all cleaned up, clean enough, and let me show you the new cooling unit. So here is the brand new cooling unit. We just folded the box down. There's our new cooling unit. See all the shiny stuff looks a lot better than what we just took out. And there's our 2 tubes of mastic. There's our new the thermal safety shutoff part instructions. We don't read those. And yeah, so we're gonna get one of these tubes of mastic open, and well, actually, we're going to take this cooling unit over first and just test fit it real quick and make sure it fits our refrigerator, because I have done that before too. Go put get a cooling unit all with the mastic and stuff on it, and then find out they'd sent me the wrong cooling unit. So we're going to test fit this thing real quick, and then we're going to proceed. All right, so we just got this out of the box. It is heat conductive thermomastic. So I was being lazy when I was just calling it mastic. It's thermomastic. So there you have it. There's what that is. And I'm assuming by the name of it, that's what it does. Heat conductive. There you go. Sit down in just a second. All right, so here's the new cooling unit. Get this stuff out of the way. It's not going to cooperate. There we go. All right, we're just going to set it in and make sure it fits okay. Probably gonna fit. All right, it fits. So now we'll pull it back out there and put the thermomastic the thermomastic stuff around. And I have a plan for this side over here too that got burned up. We're gonna tape that up really good with some aluminum tape, and then I'm gonna inject construction foam in there to repair what got damaged. All right, I'm gonna put some thermomastic around here to just help seal that cooling unit, and then we'll show you what we actually do on the cooling unit, because you need to get it here between the cooling unit and these aluminum pieces. The easiest way to do that is do it on the cooling unit. We'll show you that in a minute. Just gonna do a quick bead, not crazy, around here. We'll lay a bead around this outside here. Here's our new cooling unit. These are the tubes where the coolant actually circulates. So this is the freezer. So we're just going to do these tubes right on the top of them, so that when we put this cooling unit in, it'll make good contact with the aluminum part of the freezer and the refrigerator. Just like so. All right, there's the freezer. Down here's the refrigerator. Perfect. They gave us new screws for the cooling unit inside the refrigerator and freezer, so we're going to use those. Get the wires. Oh, I had out of thermomastic. All right, let's set the bottom in first. There we go. All right. We got her stuck in there. Cameron's going to hold it while I go around here and shoot a couple screws in. All right, I got a couple screws in each side on the freezer. Now we're going to start getting some in the refrigerator down here. These fins in the refrigerator, I don't know, about that deep, 3 or 4 inches deep. So we use an extension with a socket on it. I'm going to put a little piece of putty tape in the end of my socket to hold my screws. So put a little piece of putty tape in there. Sticky screw in. Boom, it's there. Ooh, there, see? Don't fall out. So that's the 6, sorry, I'm shaking y'all up. That's the 6 screws in the refrigerator. Got 4 more up here in the freezer to do. And we're done on this part. There we are. They even gave me 1 extra screw. They must have seen me work before. All right, now I'm gonna get the 2 screws. I'm gonna get the 2 screws up in the top of the cooling unit, and there will probably be some instructions, which we're actually gonna read. Tells you exactly how much slope can be on those top fins and stuff. All right, got our cooling unit replacement instructions. Got them in English and whatever that is, and then we got them in English and whatever that language is. I think we'll use the English. I don't think I have West Virginian, so we'll have to just use the English, right? Nobody but West Virginians speak West Virginian. Now I'll see. One set of instructions for a 1210. Toss those. We're gonna keep the instructions for the 1200. We're way into this book already before I had to open the book. Danger, danger. Uh-oh. Should have read that first. Nah, we're good. Danger's Cameron's middle name. You didn't know that, did you? A little trivia. Caution, caution. Wait, we don't even know that word. Danger. We know that word. Attenzione. Precauzione. See, I know some foreign languages. No, it actually shows putting mastic, thermomastic, around the cooling unit. They always said that was a no-no. Well, I don't see anything. Usually, about every one of these things I've ever done is they want you to put a level across here, and you know this is not supposed to be level, so it's out of level so much from one end to the other. Maybe they put this really nice heavy strap between here so it can't really change. I don't know. There's not a thing in the book about this here, so I guess we're just gonna screw it down right where it's at. There must be a piece of metal back there. Must have been. All right, there's those. So that was the 2 screws in the top that hold the cooling unit in, and there's 2 more down here. And there's really not a whole lot that holds that cooling unit in at all. Your screws from inside do most of it, and then you got 4 screws back here on the back side that hold it in, and that's it. One bottom one. There's the other one. And that, folks, is all that actually physically holds that cooling unit in this refrigerator. You know, we got a bunch of wires and stuff to deal with, but that's all that physically holds it in. We're going to tape around. We're going to tape around the cooling unit. Got that fan switch off the old cooling unit. We're going to have to reuse it. It goes right up here. These fins up here are already pre-drilled for the screws. That. All right, I don't really know how much more of this I'm gonna show. I'm gonna video it in case something exciting happens, but all we have to do is just hook all this stuff back up. Did I mention in another video I lost my favorite wire strippers, and apparently I left them lay outside of the customers for about a week. I ordered them apart. When I got back with these parts, he said, "Hey, I found your pliers." I said, "Great." He said, "I just brought them in today." I said, "Oh, we should have brought them in a week ago," but hey, he was nice enough to save them for me. I have left tools at somebody's. Knew I left them at somebody's. And I called them up and I'm like, "Hey, did I leave a tool there?" And they said, No, you didn't." It's like, "Really? You sure?" Nope, didn't see it. Like, okay. Lost that tool. Always hate it when that happens. Okay, we got most of the wiring figured out. It's not nowhere near buttoned up. Cameron's doing some taping, taping that cooling unit in and stuff. So we're just going around and taping the cooling unit. This whole back side of this cooling unit needs taped just to seal it. Make sure we don't have any air leaks. All right, well that's all we're gonna do this evening, because I know this will seem like it was only a second for you guys, but it's gonna be at least the next day before we get back on this. It's a school day. Tomorrow's a...
No, tomorrow I'm off.
Tomorrow he's off, that's right. We're working tomorrow. But I gotta get him home. He's got stuff he's gotta do, so. So that's gonna be it for tonight, and we'll get back to this later. See ya. All right, well, this is the next day. We got our drain tube to replace the one that got smoked when this thing caught on fire. We're getting ready to finish up the wiring. We need to do we need to do the high limit switch and all that stuff, that safety stuff, the stuff that the gentleman thought was a good idea to bypass here. And so we got to do that. And actually had to get the, I've got one of those recall kits. That's actually a recall on these, on this older refrigerator. So I've got a recall kit and it's got instructions with it, and that way I'll know how to wire it. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started on all that. This safety kit, recall kit, whatever you want to call it, consists of a couple major components. In here, on the other end of this brown wire, is the temperature sensor, so that if this flue area gets too hot, i.e. it catches on fire, it runs into this little box right here, and it will just shut the refrigerator off. These boxes here, there's an LED that will be flashing, I believe, if this thing trips out on an over temperature. And I think it's on all the time. Maybe when the fridge is on, it blinks if it's in fault. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out in a few minutes. It just snaps right here on the coils. So we're going to go ahead and plug the little brown wire in where it goes, and we're going to figure out which wire, because it comes with all these wires, jumper wires and stuff. So let's see which wire they want to use and where it goes. Norcold really does a good job of these. It's all color coded diagrams and stuff. So let's see here. Here's our diagram on this page. We don't have that limit switch, so it's just power in from the DC source to this box, and then that says 12 volt out, goes down to the board, and then our ground. So it's easy peasy. So we're just going to run a red wire down to the board. It says 12 volt DC. Run the other end to our box. It says, well, we're going to have to use a different wire. Blue wire's got two large ones. We're going to use the blue wire actually. Go from DC to the DC out, 12 volt out right there. And we're going to use this ground wire, plug it into the one that's marked ground, and then our 12 volt from the coach will go on the other side of that box. Alright, so that's that. So I'm actually just going to hook this up to a battery right now, and we're just going to start testing. Yes, that LED on that safety switch is on, I believe. Let me see. No, actually it's not. So only time that light comes on, I guess, when you have a fault. We got the rubber tube to replace that burn up tube. Let's see if we have a display. Hey, we have a display. It's always a good sign. All right, so we got it set back down level. Got the AC power hooked to it. We're gonna test it on AC, and then we'll test it on propane and make sure it's gonna heat on AC, and we need to test those fans. So I'll show you how we do that in a minute. We're just gonna cut this thing back on. Cut on, we're just gonna leave it on. It's on AC. It's on the coldest temperature. We're just going to put it on automatic. For these heating elements, we use a really high-tech device to see if they're heating. Right there it is. Just bravely stick your finger down in there and Takes a few minutes for it to start getting hot, but that's what we use to test it with. We'll give that a couple minutes, see if she gets hot. Ah! Nice, kid, it ain't hot yet. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than you think it would. Those are not really big heating elements, so they don't heat up very fast. They do get hot. You don't want to stick your finger in there like that after they get hot. You will leave some serious DNA down there on that heat element. Your mind kind of plays tricks on you. You think, okay, it's getting warm, but you don't know for sure. It's kind of like you put a frog in cold water and turn the heat on. Okay, it's getting hot. You know, the old thing where you put a frog in cold water and then turn the heat on slowly, and he'll just lay in there and bask in the warmth until he's cooked. It's kind of the same deal. So it is definitely getting hot, so that's awesome. Now we're going to use another super high-tech device to test this thermodisc up here for the fans, for the circulation fans. Here it is. It's fire. The thing don't have to get very hot before it turns those fans on. So we're not putting the flame directly on it. We're just putting it near it. Yeah, we can just hook these fans up direct, see if they run, but I actually want to make sure the thermodisc and everything works. All right, so I verified we had power and ground coming out of the board to run the fans. I think maybe I just had them hooked up wrong. I don't know. I think they're hooked up right now. We know the thermal switch up here works. We know this thermal switch works because we saw it work. It opened and closed. And so we're just going to jump these two wires and see if our fans run. Now, it'll be the same as if that disc closes, like we was going to heat it up. But we don't have to heat it up again because we know it works. All right. So I'm just going to jump these two female spade connectors over with this little jumper wire that I keep made up. Let's see if the fans run now. And they do. And they run. All right, well there you have it. There's changing a cooling unit in a 1200 series Norcold refrigerator. They're all basically the same. Whether it's Norcold or Dometic, different model numbers, it's basically the same. So if you've got a refrigerator and you want to change a cooling unit, hopefully you'll be able to use this video to help you. Why does he look like he's half crazy? What? Did you see that? Did you see that look? What's that all about?
I blanked out for a second.
I'm gonna get to where I won't turn my back on the boy. But hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Click that notification bell. All that stuff. Leave us a comment. Tell me why you think Cameron looked like he's about half crazy right there a while ago. I don't know. But anyhow, hey, thanks for watching. We're gonna button this one up. Just basically tying the wiring up, hook that drain hose up, and we're out of here. We're gonna test it tonight, see if it cools, and y'all have a fantastic day. You scared me there for a second, man. It's like